Hello, hello. Good evening. This is MzRockMon, author and founder of the Child Support Hustle, Reform Child Support Now movement. I have to say that. No, I don't have to say it, but why not? Hope everybody is doing well whenever you watch this. If you watch it later, if you join me now, I appreciate it. I'm gonna wait and see if anybody jumps on because I am really interested in this topic for several reasons, and I hope people come in. If you watch it later, if you leave a comment, or um, I'm very interested in seeing what people feel about um, this topic, this subject. And let me pull up my copy. Where'd it go? There it is. Okay. So I'm not sure if you guys saw, but um, Black Lives Matter, BLM, um, the organization, it was formed, I believe it was formed when Trayvon Martin was killed by George Zimmerman. Uh, so that long ago. And they were later, I want to say discredited allegedly um, because of some financing, how the money was spent. I'm not sure. I haven't researched all of that. I know they're very controversial about how they just, I mean, Black Lives Matter. If you hashtag it, somebody's going to come back and say all lives matter, or it's always something with this hashtag. I use Black Lives Matter. I have my shirt on, say their names, with the black people getting unarmed black people being killed um, by the police. We just uh, a cop just killed an unarmed lady in her home. I don't want to say her name because I don't know if they'll take my video down. Um, anyway, BLM, Black Lives Matter. So we know that President Biden has stepped down, or he won't be seeking the reelection um, for 2025. And he has nominated Kamala Harris. So BLM, Black Lives Matter, came forward and said that they did not feel that her being nominated was part of the democratic process. In that, a lot of people who support Kamala uh, were upset, are upset. So they're digging up stuff on the organization, like people sometimes do, which brings me to this statement that they made. And I guess this was an earlier statement and was on their mission statement when they first started. So I'm going to read it to you. This is verbatim. So this is a quote. Black villages. We are committed to disrupting the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other as extended families and villages in quote, that collectively care for one another and especially, quote, our children to the degree that mothers, parents, children are comfortable. And that's the end of the statement. Um, Notably, they did not mention fathers. Now, I have a problem with that because fathers should always be included unless there's violence or something like that. Y'all know how I feel. But fathers are, but they said parents, but people are having a real problem with this. This is a quote from, his name is Delano Squires. I used to follow him, but I don't anymore. Hi, L'Oreal. So he says, in fact, the fact that anyone would give a single red cent to an organization committed to, quote, disrupting the nuclear family shows how easily people can be manipulated. And then somebody else said something else. So this is what I want to talk about and ask what you guys think. Now, I'm in the process of editing my book, which is going to talk about welfare not destroying the Black family. And a big part of the destruction of the Black family that has been portrayed and pushed and talked about all these years since the 60s was the nuclear family, which consists of the mother, the father, and the children. Um, Really, there's no other family structure that the US government and mostly conservatives recognize besides two-parent homes. That's it. And that is the backbone of when people say, or when you hear that welfare destroyed the Black family, that is the basis of that argument. Back in before the welfare state, 80% or 75% of Black children were raised in homes with two parents. After the welfare state, it decreased, but it decreased across the board. It wasn't just Black families, but the emphasis is always on Black families. So, my issue with that is that we have different family structures, and children thrive when they are loved, when they are cared for. And I think to condemn an organization, not because of who they are, I think that has a lot to do with it. But if it were another organization saying that same thing, would people be as upset and say that they're being manipulative? I, for one, don't subscribe to just the nuclear family. I've been vocal about that because sometimes that's not possible, especially in the environment that we live in. Um, People, for one thing, people die. Excuse me. Oh, I've just got over COVID. This is the first time I had anybody say that's the flu. Y'all tripping. But anyway, um, people pass away. Fathers pass away. And that's one of my big issues with how somehow we turned around and just dogging single mothers, like the predicament or situation that single mothers are in are always their fault, that they're raising children by themselves. And in the light of the nuclear family is the only family that's being recognized, it is it's, I want to say, even it's dangerous to condemn every other family structure. And then when they do that with the single mothers, especially, you're looking down on these children because every time you see something about a single mother, you go to the children. These children are criminals. These children are drug addicts. These children have behavior problems. There's nothing ever positive that comes after you talk about a single mother. There's always negative connotations. Now they have not even connotations, accusations. There's nothing, and if you see anything about children being raised by a single mother and it's something positive, they are anomalies. Oh, that's not what normally happens. Well, how do you know? So I wanted to read a couple of points off of this is off of one of the research materials that I am using. I'm gonna lose my place. So it's called the Black women's wait a minute. This is an analysis of Black women's historical labor trends and systemic barriers to economic mobility. And I mean, I hope I can find. So this is like, these are some points that the author has pointed out as far as different family structures that exist because matriarchs exist, and they existed before welfare the welfare state in 1965. And that's another thing when you hear people discuss this, the welfare state and things like that, they always start in 1965. It's never before that. It's never what the families were doing, besides the marriage rate was high. So let me see. So the period that they're talking about in the households is 1960. So researchers identified several reasons that there was a rise um, in single parent homes during that era. The 20th century, the systems were not conducive to Black families that earlier than that. I mean, after that. Black families frequently rely on kinships and extended families for financial, food, childcare, and clothes support. That's something that is not discussed enough. It's kinship. And Black families, we know that, like, our cousins maybe babysit for us when we go to work or school. We rely on our moms or our moms and dads for backup. If we can't make the bills, our parents help us out. Our brothers or sisters help us with clothes, pass down clothes and things like that. We rely a lot on kinship, where nuclear families is more individualized. So that's something that I could see with Black Lives Matter talking about the kinship that they spoke about. It's not all um, about just you, your husband or wife, and your children. It's a village. So they say this experience is different from white families who largely emphasize the dependence of the nuclear family structure. And that's not what's the word of the day, race baiting. I think that we should be able to talk about racial issues, racial differences without it being negative. We just are culturally diverse, and if we can talk about it, the differences, and recognize it, um, it won't be so negative. And we do have different ways of doing things in cultures. It's not a problem when you say an Asian family does XYZ versus a Black family doing A, B, and C. But if you do it a black and white, then it seems like it's like World War III. The next one is this difference in the nuclear family is not accidental, as Black families have been forced to adapt to societal challenges. And it's always an emphasis, it's always been an emphasis since 1965. And I'm going to talk about that in my book. I go in great detail when I discuss welfare being a destruction to the family, because it's nonsense. It's nonsense. But I'll get more into that. I just wanted to like discuss this today. Next, modern day public welfare and housing policies in the United States discourage multi-generational households. And but in the current um, atmosphere, financial atmosphere, you see more people moving home or moving together as a family. The kinship is coming back because people can't afford to live on their own. Rent is like $2,000 in some places for a one bedroom. That's the government coming in and wanting to separate people in the nuclear family because more money is generated for them, for the companies, for, but the next one, another argument for the rise of single black female households is the increasing economic mar- marginality, higher mortality, and incarceration rates among black men that compound to produce a lower rate of marriage in the black community. That was a mouthful. I think I'm gonna stick a pin in that, and we'll come back to that because that's a that I mean I'm not gonna say I don't agree with that, but there's a whole different atmosphere going on with the relationships between black men and black women. Uh, it's always been some tension, I think, but lately I can't call it. Like you'll never hear me talking ill about no black man or black men. If I say something about a black man, it's because it's a personal thing. It's an individual me. But to say a collective negativity, collective is my word of the day. To just talk about black men in a negative light, I could never do that. So, but I don't know what the atmosphere is, so I'm gonna put a pin in that. The next one is the extreme marginalization of black men often forces black women to assume central roles in the black communities and families. And one thing that is repeated over and over is that during the civil rights era and when the welfare system went from ADC to AFDC in the late 50s to the early 60s, one of the talking points is that black women chose welfare over their husbands. Um, that was the incentive. They chose the government over their husband. But my research has shown, and of course, y'all know I'm big on sources and showing where I'm getting my information from. Um, the numbers of the marriages that they always post the 80%, um, although accurate, are misleading because on paper black folks were married, but because of the labor shortages, because of poverty, because people had to move around, because of separation, people couldn't afford a divorce. On paper, yeah, they were married, couples were married, but they didn't live together so much as was reported. A lot of times, the fathers, the husbands left, they moved on, or the wife, or he died, or well, they left a lot. And then the great migration happened, and that was a whole different story. A lot of black folks just didn't know where each other was, but they won't say that. They just want to pick one thing, welfare, and then that's supposed to be the reason for you know black dysfunction or in our families. And now, because Black Lives Matter released a statement about trying to break up, or actively trying to, I'm gonna say, dismantle, I think they said dismantle, nuclear family structure, everybody's in a tizzy about that. And there's nothing wrong with that when you scratch the surface and look a little bit deeper, because they're basically saying what I'm saying. There's more than just a family structure consisting of a husband, a wife, and the children. And to say anything different is to um, be unaccepting of different family structures. And we have to stop condemning these children because their mother is a single mother, or their father is a single father, or their parents are same sex parents, because these are not the children's fault. Because adults feel a certain way, how the parents are living has nothing to do with the children. Or because the mother's a single mother and the men a man thinks, oh, you don't want to be with her because she has kids already, the children have nothing to do with it. And the atmosphere now is so it's just so toxic. I you know. So that's what I wanted to talk about, and I want to know what you guys think about what Black Lives Matter, the organization, said about nuclear families, how you feel about nuclear families. And I do want to know if you guys are reading, if you're into politics, if you're reading, have you read Project 2025? There's a lot of information about welfare, about there's some about child support in there. Nothing about Title 4D is in there, but I'm going to speak about that, break it down, let y'all know different stuff, where to look. But it's some serious stuff. Even if you don't vote, you should really be aware of what people are trying to do, not just when the presidential election comes around, but locally, because I mean, this stuff affects how much money you pay, how much money you pay in your taxes, how much, if you're going to get arrested for, I don't know, whatever happens in our lives, it happens based on who we hire to go and represent us. So who, this stuff is important, even though we say, people are saying, well, I'm not voting, I both of them's trash or whatever, but they control how we live. So it's real important to see what's on the table, because this shit, man, okay. So let me go to the comments. I'm really anxious to see. Uh, Please don't cuss me out. Please don't call me a race baiter. I'm so sick of being called that. I have. I'm an independent thinker. I'm a critical thinker. If I have something on my mind, I'm going to ask and discuss it. Hopefully, I'll get it back answered. I can have. Um, I can talk to y'all. We can talk, and I like having intelligent conversations and figuring out, what y'all thinking, because my mind goes a mile a minute. Is that fast? But instead of, everything does not have to be an argument all the time. Like we used to, or I remember we used to be able to talk and share ideas. And now if you say anything that somebody doesn't agree with, it's automatically it's war. Like people just listen to fight. It's not to share. I so just, I'm talking about the same shit people been talking about for decades, but I'm talking about it now. I'm a race baiter and I'm a separator and all that shit, and just just spare me. Just today was kind of rough. So people tend to forget that child's environment factors in the situation. The single mother can do the best. Fathers should definitely be allowed to see their children. That should never, unless there's, and this is for mothers too, unless there's violence proven, not just because somebody's mad and makes a false accusation about DV or something like that, or abuse. If you make a false accusation against somebody, you should go to jail. I'm a firm believer in that. Your ass should go to jail. You should not be allowed to play around with somebody's life and freedom, livelihood, and all that kind of stuff because you're being an asshole or you're being pissed off or you don't want to share your child with the other parent. So, if fathers need to be in their children, if they're alive, if they are available and they want to be with their child, they have every right to be with their child. That is just a given. People tend to forget that a child I don't think so either yet. And that's my issue. Like the atmosphere now, especially with these podcasts, they go in on single mothers. Like a single mom is not sitting up there busting her ass, like going to work, making sure the kids eat, making sure like every with these with the groups, the fathers' rights groups that have come up I since I entered the since I started advocating. So we're talking about over a decade. Um, where it used to be, uh, it was more about the children, and it was now it's just all the fathers are right and all the mothers are wrong. All the fathers are perfect and the mothers ain't shit. And that's just not realistic. That's a dangerous precedent because we know that, and this is another thing about the nuclear family, that's an individual type of structure. And just like parents, and this is why child support doesn't work, the whole system, because you're trying to dictate how much somebody spends or how much people spend based on a schedule that cannot fit with everybody. Every family is different. People are individuals. So that's not going to work for everybody. Every visitation schedule is not going to work for every family. That's why this stuff does not work. They try to individualize everybody to fit in a mold, and it's just not. We are people. We're human. We are unique. We're not the same. So that's why that doesn't work. So if you sit up there and bash mothers, all you're going to get a mad mother. You're going to get a bitter mother. You're going to get somebody that's not going to care about you, the father, seeing your son or your daughter. They're going to make it difficult as hell. Now, when I started and start putting the information out about Title 4D and how the government was taking that money and it wasn't passing through and really putting people onto the game, to the hustle, people were going and closing those cases. The arrears were, people were going and auditing those arrears and they were finding out they were getting taxed. That shit wasn't adding up. Now we have the people were closing cases. Y'all start seeing videos where the moms were saying, I'm taking my baby's dad off of child support. I'm closing it. Now you don't really see that shit. Now you see back all this animosity. You see a lot of anger again. So it just switched. Went back to the status quo. L'Oreal, I would like to know more about that. Like abused kinship. What you mean? Because I want to know what you mean by that. Yeah, kinship is coming back. I see more families moving. Yeah, kinship should come back. And I tell you another thing, if kinship comes back, we will have less of an issue with child care. Now child care is what, rent or more than rent, but this is how that government operates. They go in. Now I would never say that welfare is not uh, doesn't have a negative impact on families, but it depends on how. So that again, that's an individual, what the situation is and everything like that. But that child care system, because so much money is generated through there, when you have your kinship, like I said, you might have your cousin babysit. She's not going to charge you $700 every 2 weeks. She might, but if they're in the middle of it, then you got the middleman, the government. Then you got the child care hustle. You got everything that you do has to go through them. Let me see. Sometimes it's for get back. Sometimes it's for get back. I've seen mother well expected mothers that cannot even wait to have a baby to go to child support. They just waiting just to have a baby to go to child support because he ain't with her or he don't want to have the baby. Like that's what child support created. But now more information is out. But the thing is, what information is reliable, what is true, what is false. And that's why you have to do your own research. 3 resources. If somebody, like what I'm saying, if I give you information, get 2 more, 3 more if you can. Just don't go with what somebody say because it sounds good or you think they look like they know what they're saying. This whole industry with the family courts, child support reform, I'm telling you, some slippery snakes out here. A pro 20, yeah. Well, the 2025 in the black community, well, I think low income, because they have something in there for SNAP benefits. And what happened, and this was probably about 3 years ago. I wrote an article about this. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Thanks. Thanks for holding. So what happened about maybe 3 years ago, um, the government wanted to mandate that anybody receiving food stamps had to cooperate with child support. And now the mandate is for TANF, cash benefits, and Medicaid. Well, it was a big thing all over, the news and stuff because the Democrats stepped in and said, no, y'all not going to do that because y'all are not going to starve these children just to get the child support. It's not cost effective. They already crunched the numbers. We're not doing that. So, and already some states can't do it, but it's tied in to TANF and Medicaid. It's already there. But so in this 2025 report, they want to add it as a mandate again, and they've already crunched the numbers. So that's something, and I'm not saying all black people get food stamps or anything like that. But I'm saying low income, single moms of all demographics, single dads rely on food stamps to help, especially with the rent being so high, with everything being so high. So that's something that's in there. And if they have their way, and I say they, the conservatives, if they have their way, they're going to include that in the child support cooperation mandate. And yes, yeah, no, it was Title 4D was not in there. But if you listen to a lot of these child support reform, shared parenting, and child support, they talk about Title 4D all the time without knowing or explaining what really Title 4D is, which is the Welfare Recovery Program. So anything to do with child support, the Title 4D child support, part of welfare, or Title 4D part of child support, is directly related to welfare. So that's when you get into the man the mandatory part versus the non-mandatory part, but that's a different video. Problem with focusing on black issues, I'm sick of. I know. Like, I don't even like, if I me focusing on black issues, I mean, every time I turn around, that's what I hear. That's what's there. All I heard for 15 years was welfare destroyed the black family. Then as soon as I say, wait, now, what are you doing talking about that? And on my platform, I'm gonna talk about whatever the hell I want to. Man, please. I think that we have to observe the Constitution and how much gender violates our rights. By the way, you are very appreciated, much needed. Thank you. Yet, I think we should concentrate on the Constitution as well. Here's the thing: the people that we hire to handle our business do not seem to know what the Constitution is. They seem to have um, thrown it out the damn window. I don't know. Like, debtor prisons, they're not supposed to be locking people up. They know that, and they do it. But are the people that we hire, and then the ones that, like, they are on some other shit. Just like now, like, they'll talk about this Black Lives Matter statement until they can't talk about it anymore, when they need to be talking about why they locking people up in debtor prisons. But people get sidetracked talking about the wrong shit. We need to be talking about the Constitution and the violations and things like that. But they'll start on some other. Don't even get me started. Send them to jail. Abuse kinship. I get help. I can create more kids recklessly irresponsible. That's true. I see what you're saying. If the family's always picking up the slack, then you can just run amok, and that's true. But the one thing that we are free. We are independent and we are free. So for the most part, if you want to have a gazillion babies, you can. So then that comes down to parents raising their children. So if you're a mom and your child's father wants to help raise them, then you have no right to say that he can't, because you're pissed. Because he does not want to be with you, and he don't want to have a nuclear family with you. You don't have a right to tell that father that he can't raise his child. And this comes to maturity. So many times I'm like looking online, or working and stuff, and I see, or even if I'm on my Facebook page and you look and see these videos, and it's all about the parents. That's all that matters, is the parents. There's nothing about the kids. Well, you can't do this. Well, I'm not doing that. I'm not kissing her ass. I'm not kissing his ass. Why? It ain't even about, once y'all have children, it's not about you anymore. Now, I'm not saying he up here hitting you or she up there trying to kill you. Like, no, I'm talking about just regular adulting. Y'all have a child. Sometimes you're gonna have to kiss her ass. Sometimes you're gonna have to kiss his ass to make sure the child is taken care of. And part of that is making sure that child has access to both parents. Period. I mean, when I was younger, I was reckless, and you know, but I'm older now, so I'm just sharing what I've learned, because when I was young, people older taught me, and I feel it's my obligation. Have you this? What? I do not want no spam. Okay, I thought child support was for this. Uh L'Oreal child support. Well, non welfare cases, that's what it's for. But if you get welfare assistance, they mandate, in order for you to receive any cash or any or Medicaid, that you file a lawsuit against the other parent. And if you do not cooperate, you you won't get benefits. And when the parent pays child support in 26 states, they will keep some, if not all, of the support. And that's when, if you see people getting checks for like 50 cents or $2.11 and stuff like that, that's because the government is keeping the bulk of the payment, and that is to allegedly repay for the welfare benefit. But here's the child support hustle. This is what my book, this is why I wrote my book. Welfare benefits are already paid for through our tax dollars. So there is nothing to repay. And that's why they don't go after the mothers. That's why they don't go after the custodial parent, because they can't. So they go after the non custodial parent, because they are saying, hey, we are taking care of your child. And as a third party, we can now come sue you for the money we have spent taking care of your child. It's a lawsuit. So that's another video. I probably well, I know I have written about the common law theory, but I don't know if I did a video about it. But that's how that goes. Yeah, they poke at me. I poke back, but this is a different, like, child support. I could talk about that all day. I've learned, forgotten, learned, like, that was my passion for so long. This is um a new topic for me, and it's really ugly, um with race, and people are really nasty, really nasty. And so I I'm not used to hearing the racial slurs, and seeing it, because I really don't put myself in that position to hear it or be called names like that. And I got thick skin. I'm not, you know, that ain't nothing to me. But this is just a different topic, different arena. That's all. And I just don't want to be cussing and um, doing all that. I just don't have time for it. So I just block everybody. I just throw a block party. I do not say anything. I'll be like, oh, okay. Especially if you don't have an average, like a face, I can't see you, and you say some dumb shit to me, you getting blocked. I do not have time. You getting blocked, block, blah, blah. I love it. My cousin told me, this was a couple years ago. He said, block them, can you? I said, well, I gotta, feeling like I gotta talk to people and all that. No, block them. Man, I blocked about 50 people today on Twitter. Hey, okay, so I'm on Twitter and I can go to the Facebook page, but people be reporting me over there. I'm gonna shut that shit down. I'm not gonna shut it down, but I want to be more like over here on YouTube or on. You know what? I'm gonna be off Twitter too because I found out some shit about that too, about that racist shit. Some stuff is allowed to fly, other stuff they'll kick you off. So I think this will be my probably last month over there. So I want to be over here, and then I'm gonna set up my website so I can like do stuff over there. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm excited for my book to come out. I'm excited about talking about different, this especially the welfare not destroying the Black family. And I'm like I said, I'm not trying to change anybody's mind about this. I'm just trying to create a different dialogue about it, especially for the children, because if you grow up hearing that because of how you're being raised or who's raising you, you are going to become a criminal, or you're more likely to be a criminal, that is detrimental to everything about you. And Black children already, um, especially Black boys, already have a strike against them. And that's just I can't sit by and not do anything. So that's it for me. And I'm gonna put the links that I talked about in the comment section. If you watch this later, then you'll see what I'm talking about. I appreciate you guys, especially you, L'Oreal Drayton and Yak, if you're still here. I appreciate you too. I have my shirts that that I just designed just for the book. Welfare Did Not Destroy the Black Family. Mob Life, my own boss. That's what mob is standing for. In case y'all, didn't know. Independent. We gotta do our own thing. And thank you, man. That COVID ain't no joke, man. That I was sick, not as sick as I've heard, but it was It was different. But thank you. I am feeling better for real. Let me see my website, thechildsupporthustle.com, and once I get my book out up and out, and I will start helping people with their child support cases again. That shit is stressful, but yeah, I might. Let me hold that. Let me hold that. But if you reach out to me, I'll try to point you in the right direction. But I'm still not working on any individual cases at the time. At this time, just know that Title 4D cases do not price your or set your child support amount based on how much time you spend with your child. That is a lie. I ain't calling it a rumor. It's a lie that somebody started a couple years ago. Special interest lobbies and all that kind of stuff. That is not true. And another lie is that judges' retirement money is based on how much child support they set. That's another lie. So just be careful of what information you take in and hold, and just research. Just verify what you're hearing. I don't know. I don't have a fee for any consultations. So I wouldn't know. I probably just ask you to give me a donation or a gift, something like that. And it depends, because these are individual situations. So sometimes it could be as easy as I can look at it and be like, oh, you just need to do A, B, and C. Or sometimes it'll take me a week just to review what you got going on. So I can't call it. I just don't know. But yeah, it'll probably be, if I do, it's gonna be probably the end of the year. So yeah. But thank you guys. I hope this was a good. I had fun on this live. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking about it because this is what, this is the topic I want to get into. So, and I just been researching this for over 2 years now. So I got all this information and all this, so I'm ready to debate a little bit, and I'm ready to see what y'all talking about, and yeah. So all right, the childsupporthustle.com. Y'all can visit my store if y'all want to support and get a shirt. I don't have one on right now, but I think they cute. And my mom do too, and my dad, and my bonus mom, and my kids. Oh, hold off on that. And let me see. Don't forget, subscribe, turn your noties on, share this video or share my other videos. Tell everybody to stop sleeping on me, and come on over and let's get the real stuff down. Um, that's it. All right. Y'all can send me a gift on my Cash App, $ Ms. Rockmon, MzRockMon. I do that. All right, y'all. Y'all stay up. You should start like a firm directly for child support. You would do a girl. I'm so sick. This child support girl. Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. They. I'm just gonna say this and I'm be done. The industry is ruthless. My house has been shot up in 2018. I can't do it. I can't do it. I said y'all can have this shit, and that's another story. That's on here somewhere, but I don't know if I ever really. I probably did. But all right, y'all. Thank you. Make sure y'all notifications is on, because y'all both, you, Yak, and L'Oreal, y'all have to be here every time I go live because I enjoy y'all. Y'all talk. All right. Bye. See y'all next time.